So today I review an entire TV series inspired by the podcast Canceled Too Soon. Canceled with one L, they swear that's a legit spelling, I don't believe them. Where they review a TV show that lasted one season or less. So I'm going to do the same thing with Blind Justice. I never saw Blind Justice in its initial run, but I do remember the commercials. I was talking to someone about the show and mentioned there's a show about a blind cop. And they said, well, it's a comedy then, right? Oh no, they played this shit serious.
In an instant, Detective Jim Dunbar's life changed forever.
What are you going to be able to do at a crime scene? You won't be able to see anything.
Same thing I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Don't sell us on how you're going to be holding your own around here.
I'm a detective.
Let's take it day by day.
You see everything. You see every part. You see all my life.
He lost his sight, not his vision. Oh, fuck off. Our show begins with our main character awakening from a nightmare, reliving the day he was shot in the head and lost his sight. Then he gets ready for work. And here's a recreation of me watching him get ready for work. Wait, the blind guy has a gun? How the hell do you give a gun to a blind guy?
Maybe you think I have about as much right to carry a gun as I do drive a car?
Yes, sir, I do think that. You shouldn't have a gun. And rightfully, most of the first episode is people saying, hey, why the fuck do you have a gun?
If you remember, one of the things that cops look for in a partner is if that guy has their back.
I took a bullet for 4 cops. You don't have to tell me about getting their backs.
And you're carrying a gun. For your benefit and the safety of my other detectives, I'm asking you to reconsider and stay in the station house. I think you'll find...
What's to stop a perp from just coming up and taking him from me?
There is a part where they show us he can kind of see if there's enough noise, the sound reflecting off enough surfaces, but it's very inconsistently used and completely disappears at the end of the episode. Despite the captain putting him and his partner on side cases, the main character figures out who the bad guy is, and it ends with him pointing a gun blindly at the bad guy and just hoping the bad guy gives up.
Don't move! Don't you move! Don't move!
What are you gonna do? You can't even see me.
The bad guy was just pretending to have a gun, but if he actually did have one, Jim and his partner would have been fucking toast. Through this episode and small conversations sprinkled throughout the rest of the series, we find out a lot about our main character. He saved 4 cops during a robbery and was shot in the head, going blind in the process. He sued the city to get his job back, and the press got a hold of the story. And get this, the fucking public wanted a blind cop to have his weapon back and rallied on his behalf. Not only that, he's a dickhead who cheated on his wife for a year, not telling his girlfriend that he had a wife, and the girlfriend's best friend is his new partner. We begin episode 2 when our hero is called to a missing kid case and tells the kid how his blindness works.
You can't see anything?
I can never see anything. But I still got my imagination, you know. Like if you were to tell me how old you are.
10.
And how tall you are, what color your hair is.
4 feet 2 inches. Brown hair.
And I bet you're really handsome. See? Now I got an idea what you look like. And sometimes I might just see like a color. Or if there's noise, like wind or rain, or like the sound of a car horn honking and bouncing off of things, I can get a pretty good picture where I am.
Walking around the backyard, he smells a dead body.
Hey, Mrs. Kreider? Yeah. Is anything buried out here recently? No.
You're wrong. She's wrong. Call ESU and crime scene. Get him out here.
The dead body turns out to be the family dog, who the dad found dead and had pretended ran away, so all the cops thinks he's an idiot.
Since when are you his bottom bitch?
What did you say?
Everything he says, you're in lockstep, Karen. I mean, you can't form your own opinion?
No, I happen to agree with the guy, Marty.
Regardless of how long you think I'll last on this job, don't cut short my interviews.
That was our interview, and I didn't exactly see the guy giving it up.
That's funny, because I was thinking we were just getting started.
But Kreider did time. He's not just gonna stroll into a confession.
Our hero, of course, eventually ends up being right, but not before a side plot where he nearly gets his wife fired because he's a douchebag.
Something you laid out.
All I'm saying is that I could see you going away with him.
No, you're accusing me of having an affair.
No, those are your words, Christy.
Yeah, but that's your world, Jim, not mine.
What is that supposed to mean? What do you mean by that? Why don't you just say it? Huh? Say it.
Just because you couldn't stay faithful doesn't mean I can't.
For episode 3, we start getting theme music. The crime in this episode kind of sucks. A couple, both are cheating on each other, one killed the other. But it has a big meaning because the victim is a friend of Marty, the only cop fucking smart enough to figure out our main character shouldn't have a gun.
I'm gonna take up a collection, and I'm gonna buy some little bells. I'm gonna put them on the desks and the chairs, and us. I'm gonna get some cowbells, and I'll put them on me and Tom and Karen. I got things to do,
Marty, this is gonna stop. I work here now, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
We are also introduced to a confidential informant of our main characters named Sonny, and our main character is completely fucking baffled by the fact that a confidential informant, a legitimate criminal, is helping the police to help himself, and he's not doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
I don't see it for a year, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, Sonny, dance for me.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, me and Dunbar had a good thing going.
Where do you think he's been for the last year? Following Jimmy Buffett around the country?
Listen, I'm completely sympathetic to what happened to you, Dunbar. Really, I am. But in the last year, you couldn't pick up the phone just once to call me? Come on.
People amaze me. I've been shot. I've lost my sight. And this little weasel is crying to me because I didn't call him in the past year.
And did he eventually come around, this guy?
Oh, of course, yeah. You know, I did a little dance. You know, he had a broken heart. I won him over.
And why haven't you put the same effort into reclaiming your marriage?
Episode 4 introduces us to previously on Blind Justice, and we go back to the first episode and find out one of the cops that our main character saved faked being out of bullets so that he wouldn't have to enter gunfire himself. And in this incident that he's been investigated for this episode, shot himself in the shoulder because a suspect got away from him and didn't want to admit it. He is mostly forgiven for being a shitty cop because they think his partner's racist, even though he makes the totally valid point that police have black detectives interview black suspects so that they can make a connection and pretend that they came from similar backgrounds. It's something that happens in real life. He's not racist. He's just right.
Hey, kid. This could be your chance to shine.
How's that?
Black on black crimes. My experience,
black detectives are able to relate on their level a lot better.
And if we get a fat-on-fat crime, you'd be all over that, right?
The other cops set up an innocent person for attempted murder. But who cares? His partner's fat, so the partner's the bad guy in this situation.
Go away.
Don't answer it.
I'm not going to.
The reunion between him and his wife goes not great because he leaves in the middle of sex to have his partner draw on his face, and he would have been able to see that shit if he wasn't a blind fucking cop. But instead, he uses his senses and discovers that the bad guy drew half a swastika badly on 2 victims.
It's a swastika.
And our episode ends with him, again, not knowing there's a gun in the room.
Oh, man. I've been waiting for this.
Gun! Drop it!
It's not gonna hurt you. It's just for me.
Marlon, put the gun down.
Oh, I am not going back to jail.
In something that would not have happened to any other cop, a killer in a ski mask runs right by him, but luckily for him, it turns out this is a copycat of a serial killer. The investigation is reopened, and he's able to solve both crimes.
Hey, Sam Burglass? Is he blonde, about 5'8", real skinny?
Yeah, he's normal weight.
How do you know?
From a case a couple years ago.
What kind of case?
Said he was molested as a teenager, wanted to press charges. Anyone see him come out the window?
Now, what we got so far is a delivery guy who says he heard him hit the ground.
Who's in the apartment?
Yeah, 7th floor.
All right, come on, let's get up there.
Our hero figures this one out pretty quick, and it should be a pointless bottle episode, except for the fact they beats the hell out of a witness for no reason.
I think I'm gonna leave.
What are you doing?
I'm getting you situated. You're just gonna let this happen?
Yeah. What happened with Ethan Archer?
It was consensual.
Glasses.
Wait, don't hit me.
In the previous episode, we were introduced to the partner's new boyfriend, who it turns out is being investigated by the FBI for money laundering. And our hero went to the bad guy and told him what he knows before consulting his partner, so this episode begins with the boyfriend breaking up with the partner. The crime for this episode is the kid of the deputy mayor's golf buddy is kidnapped, so the police side with the kidnapper because she's young and cute and the guy's kinda douchey to her. She stole a child, and then her boyfriend kills the guy, and you still side with her. What the fuck is this show? No. Fuck you, episode bumper. I'm not done yet. The bad guy is a father who wants to take care of his child instead of letting him live with a homeless, unemployed woman, and he's the bad guy because he doesn't bring him for visitation often enough, he deserves to be murdered? Everybody is still trying to convince our main character that he was a dickhead for going to the criminal first instead of his partner. Even his fucking dog knows that he was wrong.
I just want to say one thing here, okay?
I told you I'm gonna talk about it.
Am I talking to Nick? I had nothing but the best intentions. All right.
Oh, the conversation's done?
Oh my God, this is such a long day.
You did the same thing to her that you did to me this morning. You couldn't take 5 minutes and listen and think of what the other person might be going through.
Oh no.
The crime ends up being pretty stupid, as the killer bought a How to Get Away with Murder book, and our main character gets away with his relationship murder by just bringing his wife to a jazz club, and she immediately forgives him for being a dick for the last 9 episodes. The informant, Sonny, is back, and he's helping to investigate a murder by setting up a drug deal. Sure.
This is what I'm thinking. You pop her for possession. Now, this gives you the leverage you need to find out what she knows as far as who killed my cousin. So I set up a buy with her in about an hour.
You did what?
Wait, what are you talking about? This is a murder investigation.
Yeah, I know. It's my cousin who's dead.
Yeah, I realize that, but I asked you to look into this. I did not ask you to play sheriff. This is a perfect example of you thinking too much. We've been through this before.
In one of the dumbest things that has happened in this show, our super cop goes undercover as a drug kingpin, and he's blind, so they just beat him up and steal this shit.
Wait! My dog! Leave the dog! Wait! Don't take my dog! Hey!
Hey, squad.
Yeah, it's Dunbar.
Heard on the street.
These people are idiots.
Working with some blind guy, too sorry?
You know anything about the murder of her boyfriend?
No?
Now, it takes 25 minutes into the episode to catch this guy. You know why? Because he's blind and can't describe, oh, it's a bald guy with a big fucking tattoo on his neck. He would have been caught in 5 seconds by any other cop. While the rest of the cops are doing cop stuff and trying to solve the crime, our hero is calling around to dog shelters looking for his dog, which is eventually found by just some random dude. But Marty does try to help.
Hey, you want to take a ride down to the East Village and look for the dog?
You got the time?
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Hey! Guess he's your dog.
I'll get the leash.
Oh, good boy. Yeah, I just found him. Wandering around. Nice dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Jim Dunbar.
Artie.
Hey, Artie, I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Sure.
The next episode is revolved around the guy who found his dog in the last episode. The guy's nephew has recently gone blind, is kind of just falling into a pit of despair, and he asks for his favor, hey, I found your dog, talk to my nephew and try to help him accept his blindness. Turns out the guy's caretaker is stealing all of his money, which our hero figures out. As I have already mentioned, Marty's partner is a black guy, and somehow, despite the fact it's been mentioned out loud twice, our main character either doesn't know that or is just fucking with him. And either way, one of them is an idiot and shouldn't be on the force.
That's pretty good. Hey, I'm just a well-rounded brother from East Flatbush.
You're black?
Get the...
No. Are you serious? You're a black man?
Jim, you didn't know?
No, how would...
What, you just thought you was working with Eminem for the last 4 months? How could you...
No, I just...
How can you not feel my blackness?
I thought you were just kind of groovy.
Groovy?
He had been asking for dating advice and what to do with his wife, and they eventually settle on ballroom dancing.
Chasse right.
Okay.
Back. Looking pretty good.
Okay. Let's bring on the wife.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, dance position. We'll do the box step. You initiate. I'll always be there when you're away.
He goes out to dinner with his wife after a ballroom dancing class and throws a fit that there was other people there. There's a wedding party, people are drunk, him and his wife are talking shit about people in the restaurant, and they notice and talk back to her, and he starts a fucking fight.
What are you looking at, bitch?
Excuse me? Jimmy, no.
Who said that? Who said that? Huh?
Who eat your dinner, pal?
Apologize to my wife.
What are you, stupid?
I said apologize.
And because he's double A super stupid, loses his fucking gun. Remember how he shouldn't have a gun? He has a gun and loses his gun.
We both know there's an unspoken rule about not telling your boss something that'll come back and bite him in the ass. The whole plausible deniability thing.
Okay.
But there's something I gotta let you in on.
Okay.
Last night, me and Christy were at a restaurant. A fight broke out, got crazy. My gun was in my gym bag, and it's gone. Somebody stole it from the restaurant. I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier. I thought I could try to get it back on my own.
Oh, you got a big problem.
Yes, I do. Maybe you think I have about as much right to carry a gun as I do drive a car?
That clip is actually from this episode, where he confronts the head of the two families that were at the restaurant and says, I know I shouldn't have a gun, but what am I without a gun? I'm a cop, it's part of my identity, please give the gun back. And one of them eventually does. Most of the episode revolves around him thinking his gun was used in a murder, because a .38 was used to kill someone that same day, and he thinks it's his, but it turns out it was a completely unrelated drug deal gone wrong. Now that this whole gun thing is bubbled up to the surface, we finally need to make a decision on it. And his captain says, okay, are you carrying a fucking gun or not? You can't carry it some days and not other days. People need to know where you stand. Make a decision. Are you carrying a gun or not? Marty and his partner, of course, have their opinion and buy him a baton and a pair of brass knuckles as a joke, and he gets all pissy about it. But Marty kinda wasn't joking and straight out just says, yes, I like you, but you shouldn't have a gun. Come on, man.
I'm sorry about the gift.
Fine.
No, it's not fine. You shouldn't be carrying a gun. You don't need it. I mean, what are you even going to do with it? It's dead weight.
Marty?
No, Jim, you've earned your place here, and we have had your back, and this is how you're going to thank us? And you'd be a better cop without it, and we'd be a better squad without it.
So that's how our series ends. Will Jim make the right move and give up his gun in order to improve his squad and to appease everybody? Or will he hold on to it in his copness against all reason? Will he get back in the groove with his wife, work hard for their relationship, and try to be a better husband? Yes, he gives up the gun and becomes a better husband. End of series. Overall, as I said, this video was inspired by the podcast Canceled Too Soon. I'll link all their stuff down in the description. They asked 2 questions at the end of every episode. Where would this have gone in 100 episodes? I honestly don't know, because they sealed everything up at the end of the season finale. He starts being a better husband to his wife, starts taking that relationship seriously, and he finally settles whether he should have a gun or not. Our 2 main plot lines are handled. I guess it becomes a bad guy of the week show after this, now that everyone's been introduced and Marty's not a just outright dick anymore. He's kind of settled down and accepts Jim as part of the team. So everything was settled. I don't know what they do next. And the second question is, was it canceled too soon or should it have gone forward? I think 13 episodes of Blind Justice is enough. I don't know where it goes from here, and I don't really like the main character. Maybe he softens as the show goes on. Maybe he becomes less stuck in his ways and it can just become a cop show. But it so doesn't fit his character that I just don't see why more of this show would have been needed. There were good elements to this show, the way they built up some of the background and you get bits and pieces of why he's a detective still. The press demanded it. Why does he have a gun? He petitioned the city. And we learn little pieces about the cops he helped save. They might show up later if this show had gone on. The one that we had seen was a dick in the flashback and continued to be a bad cop. But maybe the other cops need help again. They go to him because it's someone that they can trust. I just didn't like the main character. He's just such a bad guy, and he's just so stuck in his ways, and I just couldn't like him. Maybe we get more with the other team. I could have liked it, but it just focused on this bad person. In the relationship between him and his partner was never going to be sexual, was never going to go that way. But she dates for like 1 episode and he ruins it for no reason, really. And they have a background. He used to date her best friend and lied about being married, but she gets over that in like 10 seconds and it's never brought up again. She has some qualms about, hey, I was heading towards great things and now I'm stuck with you covering $2 fucking store robberies instead of real crimes. But that gets handled right away. So there's no animosity between anybody anymore. And it just, they made Marty into such a dick, and then he just forgets that he doesn't like Jim and just totally accepts it. So there were well done things in the show, but it just is overshadowed by my dislike for the main character. Jane Lynch shows up in 2 episodes as a medical examiner, and then I guess we just don't need to know about the victims anymore because she disappears and we never see that set again. So that was Blind Justice from 2005. Thank you for watching, and as always, I shall try to do better next time. I hope people liked this one. It was kind of long. if I go back to doing TV series again, I'm going to go back to doing 3-4 episodes of video instead of trying to cover 13 in one video. This got too long, and I just didn't have time to talk about the episodes like I probably should have.